Nakatosh, Louisiana. Nakatosh is a small city in the parish seat of Nakatosh Parish, Louisiana, United States. Established in 1714 by Louis Juttereau de Saint-Denis as part of French Louisiana, the community was named after the indigenous Nakatosh people. The city of Nakatosh was not incorporated until after Louisiana had become a state, on February 5, 1819. It is the oldest permanent settlement in the region. Nakatosh's sister city is Natchitoches, Texas. It is also the location of Northwestern State University. Nakatosh was established in 1714 by French explorer Louis Juttereau de Saint-Denis. It is the oldest permanent European settlement within the borders of the 1803 Louisiana Purchase. Nakatosh was founded as a French outpost on the Red River for trade with Spanish-controlled Mexico. French traders settled there as early as 1699. The post was established near a village of Nakatosh Indians, after whom the city was named. Early settlers were French Catholic immigrants and Creoles. French Creoles acquired lands that were developed in the antebellum years as cotton-producing Magnolia Plantation and Oakland Plantation. Each has been preserved and is designated as a National Historic Landmark. After the United States-Louisiana Purchase of 1803, migration into the territory increased from the U.S. Nakatosh grew along with the population in the parish. Initially, the Americans were primarily of English and Scots-Irish ancestry and of Protestant faith. They developed several cotton plantations along the Red River. Numerous enslaved African Americans were brought to the area through the domestic slave trade to work the cotton, and provide all other skills on these plantations, generating the revenues for the wealthy planters before the Civil War. In the 1820s and early 1830s, Nakatosh also served as a freight transfer point for cotton shipped from parts of East Texas. Cotton shippers used a land route crossing the Sabine River to Nakatosh, where the freight was transferred to boats, and floated down the Red River to New Orleans. When the course of the Red River shifted, it bypassed Nakatosh and cut off its lucrative connection with the Mississippi River. A 33-mile oxbow lake was left in the river's previous location. This became known as Cane River Lake. During the Civil War, Nakatosh was set on fire by Union soldiers who retreated through the town after their failed attempt to capture Shreveport. Confederate cavalry pursued the fleeing soldiers and arrived in time to help extinguish the flames before the town was destroyed. Alexandria was destroyed by Union troops in 1864, but both Union and Confederate troops were responsible for severely damaging plantations along the river during the war, including Magnolia and Oakland. In the spring of 1863, Confederate General Richard Taylor and his men passed through Nakatosh en route to Shreveport. Andrew W. Hyatt, one of Taylor's line officers, wrote in his diary, "Reaching the banks of Cane River, we are now on a regular race from the enemy, and are bound for Grand Ecore." 3 days later on May 11, 1863, Hyatt penned, "We have now retreated 280 miles. Nakatosh is quite a town, and the galleries were crowded with pretty women, who waved us a kind reception as we passed through town." Around Nakatosh and its environs, 12,556 bales of Confederate cotton were stored. A match factory also opened in the city during the war. The residents of Nakatosh often engaged in fundraising activities to relieve the destitute during the war. Historian John D. Winters observed, "Eggnog parties and other social affairs during the Christmas holiday season lifted the morale of civilians as well as that of the soldiers." As the parish seat, Nakatosh suffered from the decline in agricultural population through the mid-20th century, and grew at a markedly lower rate after 1960. The mechanization of agriculture had reduced the number of workers needed, and many moved to cities for jobs. By the early 1970s, the town's businesses were declining, along with many area farms, and buildings were boarded up. In the mid-1970s, Mayor Bobby DeBlue and other preservationists believed that attracting tourists to the area, based on its historic assets of nearly intact plantations and numerous historic buildings, could be a key to attracting visitors, reviving the town, and stimulating new businesses. Over the years, he worked with a variety of landowners and local people to gain support for designating an historic district in the city. He also supported making a national park out of the working area of Magnolia Plantation, which had many surviving outbuildings from the 19th century, and from Oakland Plantation, both downriver in the parish. By the end of the 20th century, the mile-long French colonial area of downtown, which lies along Cane Lake, was designated as a National Historic District. Many buildings were adapted as antique shops, restaurants and souvenir emporiums. To accommodate tourists, the town had 32 bed and breakfasts, the most in the state. By 2018, that number had increased to 50. The plantation country surrounds Cane River Lake. The markedly intact Downriver Magnolia and Oakland plantations were designated as National Historic Landmarks, and are part of what has been developed as the Cane River Creole National Historical Park, which was authorized in 1994, with the support of U.S. Senator J. Bennett Johnston. He was a cousin by marriage of Batty Herzog, the last of the family to live in the Great House at Magnolia. Tours and interpretive programs at both sites continue to attract visitors, especially as they grapple with telling the difficult history of slavery and its aftermath at the plantations. They also cover the contributions of blacks and Creoles of color to the community. Since the late 20th century, the 35-mile Oxbow Lake has served as the spring break training location for numerous university crew teams, from schools such as the University of St. Thomas, Kansas State University, University of Kansas, Wichita State University, Murray State University, University of Central Oklahoma, and Washington University, as well as Northwestern State University. In the spring of 2018, LSU, Alabama, Texas, and Georgia were also represented. Tourists interested in sports often visit in this period to watch the sports teams. Over the years, the city and parish have improved conditions with the riverbank stabilization project and a water pump project to improve water levels in the lake. This directs water from Hampton Lake into Bayou, which feeds Cane River Lake. Nakatosh was the site of the 1973 plane crash that claimed the life of singer-songwriter Jim Croce. Croce had performed a concert on campus for Northwestern State University students at Prather Coliseum, but was killed less than an hour later in a plane headed to Sherman, Texas. The pilot may have suffered a fatal heart attack that interfered with his flying. In 2005, the cartoonist and historian Pap Dean published Historic Nakatosh, Beauty of the Cane, a study of the history, people, and attractions of the historic city. It is one of the oldest in the state. Harrisonburg, the seat of Catahoula Parish, is the other earliest French settlement in the state. Nakatosh is the home of the oldest general store in Louisiana, the still operating Coffee Frederick Incorporated, General Mercantile, located on Front Street. The store was co-founded in 1863 by ancestors of Alexandria businessman and former city commissioner Arnold Jack Rosenthal. It has been featured in several nationally televised reality shows such as Duck Dynasty and Cajun Pawn, with the words "If you can't find it anywhere else, you can probably find it at Coffee Frederick." Nakatosh is located at 31 degrees 45'15" and 93 degrees 5'42" W, 31.75417 degrees north, 93.09500 degrees west, 31.75417, minus 93.09500, and has an elevation of 118 feet. According to the United States Census Bureau, the city has a total area of 25.1 square miles, of which 21.6 square miles is land and 3.6 square miles is water. A 35-mile-long lake was formed from a portion of the Red River when it changed course. It is now known as Cane River Lake. The municipal water supply comes from nearby Sibley Lake, a formerly drained wetland dammed in 1962, which also offers fishing and boating. Soils in this area are a combination of leaf mold and red clays, sand and sediments. The area is part of the Chestnut Salt Dome. Weather-wise, Nakatosh lies in a boundary region that separates the plains of Texas from the consistently humid Gulf Coast. This gives summers both heat and humidity. Winters in Nakatosh are relatively mild, with measurable snowfall once every 5 to 10 years. Nakatosh averages 54.93 inches of rain per year. The city is in an area which frequently experiences severe thunderstorms, hail, damaging winds, and tornadoes. Following continued population decline in the area, in part due to mechanization of agriculture, by the 1970s, Nakatosh had suffered an economic downturn that resulted in a 65% vacancy in the commercial district. Because of efforts to revitalize the city and emphasize its unique historic assets, as described above, vacancy is now about 1%. The port of Nakatosh, a river port on the Red River, is located off the eastbound part of U.S. Route 84, just outside Nakatosh. The port exports lumber from yards on site, as forestry is a major industry in the area as well. Nakatosh Regional Airport serves cities such as Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Dallas, Houston, Little Rock, Monroe, and Shreveport. It is adjacent to Northwestern State University. Together they offer flight training. The airport is under renovation to become one of the country's most advanced non-towered airports. The Nakatosh National Fish Hatchery is based here. They handle over 6 species of fish and other wildlife. The parish attracts numerous sports fishermen during the seasons. The Nakatosh Christmas Festival is a well-known celebration of the holidays for locals. Since completion of Interstate 49, many businesses have either moved or have been built outside the city's central area. Gas stations and hotels have developed in this area and serve many of the Nakatosh Christmas Festival visitors. In 1998, Nakatosh was named one of the top 6 places in the United States to retire by Kiplinger's Personal Finance magazine. A Troop 2nd 108th Cav is headquartered behind the local college and the airport. This unit has deployed twice to Iraq, first as part of the 1st 156th Armor Battalion in 2004 to 2005, and then as part of the 2nd 108th Cav Squadron in 2010. Both times this company-sized unit deployed with the 256th Infantry Brigade. As of the 2010 census, there were 18,323 people, 6,705 households, and 3,631 families residing in the city. The population density was 828.5 inhabitants per square mile. There were 7,906 housing units at an average density of 312.2 per square mile. The racial makeup of the city was 59.0% African American, 36.4% white, 0.5% Native American, 0.6% Asian, 0.02% Pacific Islander, 0.4% from other races, and 1.5% from 2 or more races. Hispanic or Latino of any race was 1.7% of the population. There were 6,113 households, out of which 30.4% had children under the age of 18 living with him, 34.3% were married couples living together, 21.5% had a female householder with no husband present, and 40.6% were non-families. 30.8% of all households were made up of individuals and 11.3% had someone living alone who was 65 years of age or older. The average household size was 2.50 and the average family size was 3.18. In the city, the population was spread out with 23.6% under the age of 18, 27.2% from 18 to 24, 21.8% from 25 to 44, 16.0% from 45 to 64, and 11.4% who were 65 years of age or older. The median age was 24.5 years. For every 100 females, there were 85.0 males. For every 100 females age 18 and over, there were 80.2 males. The median income for a household in the city was $23,261, and the median income for a family was $30,396. Males had a median income of $28,601 versus $17,859 for females. The per capita income for the city was $12,642. About 26.7% of families and 34.8% of the population were below the poverty line, including 45.0% of those under age 18 and 19.2% of those age 65 or over. The Nakatosh meat pie is one of the official state foods of Louisiana. It is known as a regional delicacy of North Louisiana. Nakatosh has long been known for its popular Christmas lighting festival, which is held the first Saturday in December. The lights continue to brighten the Cane River until after New Year's Day. In 2016, the festival celebrated its 90th year. Though Nakatosh has few multi-story buildings, it has retained much of its historic European-style architecture listed on the National Register of Historic Places as the Nakatosh Historic District. The city is a mesh of wrought iron, stucco and red brick. The city still has one of the original brick streets which the Historical Society protects from alterations. The city of Nakatosh recently completed a restoration project to repair the century-plus-old brick front street. During this process, workers removed each brick one by one, numbered them, cleaned them, and then replaced them after utilities, drainage, and foundation were repaired beneath. The Cane River National Heritage Area is a 116,000-acre area which includes many sites such as Oakland Plantation, Melrose Plantation, Baden Roque House, Magnolia Plantation, Kate Chopin House, Cherokee Plantation, Cane River Heritage Scenic Byway, Fort Street. Jean-Baptiste State Historic Site, National Historic Landmark District, and the Los Angeles State Historic Site. Because of this richness of culture, the area is one of the destinations on the Louisiana African American Heritage Trail newly designated by the state. Nakatosh, a popular tourism area of the state, is equipped to serve visitors with 11 national chain hotels and 27 bed and breakfast inns, including the Steel Magnolia House. Nakatosh attracts over 1 million visitors annually. The city is known as a retiree-friendly city. In 2006, Nakatosh was awarded the Great American Main Street Award for the effort the community has put into revitalizing and restoring much of the historic district. The city's tourism center is the downtown Riverwalk. This includes Front Street, which becomes Jefferson at the Texas Street Light. Front Street is the jewel of the city. It overlooks the Riverwalk and is bordered by an assortment of shops and boutiques. The city has identified this area as the Historical District. The Historical Society maintains the area through regulations on changes and restorations. Nakatosh has a mini Walk of Fame located in the Historical District of the city. While visiting the area, tourists may notice many unusual structures. These are many of the Nakatosh Christmas Festival lights. The city recently built a small convention center located on 2nd Street, which holds many city events. The Bayou Pierre Alligator Park is a major tourist attraction where tourists may feed the alligators and dine and shop. The park teaches school children to respect nature and to conserve its many habitats. Nakatosh is home to a branch of the Kisatchie National Forest, a designation promoted by naturalist Caroline Dorman to preserve regional natural wonders. Opened December 2005, the Nakatosh Events Center is in the Nakatosh National Historic Landmark District. Located at 752nd Street, the facility has a 40,000 square foot meeting facility, a 15,000 square foot exhibit hall with 3 meeting rooms, a boardroom, and a full-size catering kitchen. Nakatosh Regional Medical Center is a 78-bed facility that includes 45 medical/surgical beds and a 112-bed skilled nursing home. Rehabilitation treatment is at the Prism Center for Physical, Occupational and Speech Therapy, Sports Medicine, Industrial Medicine, Wound Care and more. The Northwestern campus is also home to the Louisiana Scholars College, the state's designated honors college for the study of the liberal arts and sciences. As a part of its effort to become a global campus, NSU is a sister university with many universities in Asia. Nakatosh Parish School Board operates many public schools. They include St. Mary's High School is in Nakatosh. The Louisiana School for Math, Science, and the Arts was created by the Louisiana State Legislature in 1982. Since 2010, the school has been named annually as one of the nation's elite public high schools by J. Matthews and the Washington Post. The Louisiana School for Math, Science, and the Arts is a tuition-free, residential school with selective admissions for high-ability and highly motivated sophomores, juniors, and seniors from Louisiana, and is located in Nakatosh adjacent to the campus of Northwestern State University of Louisiana. Nakatosh was the site of a gas pipeline explosion on March 4, 1965 that killed 17 people. In 1973, singer-songwriter Jim Croce was killed when his plane crashed as it was leaving Nakatosh Regional Airport. Nakatosh received numerous New Orleans evacuees due to Hurricane Katrina. Many college students from New Orleans were transferred to Northwestern State University to continue their education. Multiple movies have been filmed here, including media related to Nakatosh, Louisiana at Wikimedia Commons. Nakatosh, Louisiana at Wikimedia Commons. Nakatosh, Louisiana at Wikimedia Commons.